the Leedstown Resolves. And you ask, what is the Leedstown Resolves? It is actually the precursor to the Declaration of Independence. This was put together by Richard Henry Lee, and it was put together as a response to the Stamp Act that was put in place on the United States, at the time the colonies, by King George. Folks were adamant that you couldn't have taxation without representation. The Stamp Act required that any commerce from the colonies to England had to be stamped and a tax had to be collected, and vice versa. Anything coming from England back to the colonies had to be stamped and a tax had to be collected. As you can see, this was a very, very passionate pushback against that. And think about it, at the time, these patriots that signed this, put their name to this, put themselves in harm's way, because this was a direct contradiction to the crown. And they did this at much personal peril. Also, they approached the merchant at what is today Tappahannock, which at the time was Hobbs Hole, to let the merchant know that he should under no circumstances stamp any commerce coming into the colonies, nor try to collect a tax on any commerce coming in, or stamping any commerce going out of the colonies. And this group of patriots were pretty emphatic about what the outcome would be to that merchant in Hobbs Hole, and he wisely decided that he was not going to use the stamp that the Crown of England sent to him to actually stamp the commerce that went through that port. So think about how brave these patriots were to sign their name to this, essentially a direct affront to the crown and what they subjected themselves to. But they were pretty passionate about this, and this was actually the precursor of the Declaration of Independence. It was signed on 27th day of February in 1766. If you read the Declaration of Independence, you'll see many common themes from this document to what you see in the Declaration written by Thomas Jefferson. So the whole idea behind what we saw in 1776 actually started formally 10 years earlier in the little colony of Leedstown, semi-colony of the colony of Virginia in Leedstown, where these patriots got together and said, no, we are not going to be taxed without having a ability to be represented.